Alberta just jumped back into the pipeline fight, again. Premier Danielle Smith, $14 million on the table. Alberta would act as the proponent, not a private company. Plan to file a formal application with Ottawa's Major Projects Office, backed by a technical advisory group. Enbridge, South Bow, Trans Mountain. Here's the catch. The route targets the northwest BC coast. That's right, where a federal tanker moratorium has been in place. The ban blocks large crude and persistent oil tankers from stopping or loading. Smith's take? You can't build the pipeline unless that ban is lifted. BC's Premier David Eby is not buying it. He calls this not a real project, taxpayer-funded, no private proponent. Alarming to British Columbians, especially coastal First Nations, and those First Nations are already signaling no. Coastal leaders say they don't support a pipeline and tankers project in their waters. They warn about spill risk. They call the idea the opposite of nation building. Smith frames it as a stress test for Canada. If provinces can't collaborate, if Alberta can't get its products to Tidewater while others do, what does that say about the country? On the federal stage, Pierre Poilievre backs the concept, but not public money. If pipelines are profitable, private investors should build them and pay taxes. Environmental groups are already in the trenches. Greenpeace argues this is politically and economically unsound. Their analogy, building a new tar sands pipeline now, is like betting on Blockbuster as Netflix takes off. So what does Alberta's $14 million actually do? Think blueprint, not bulldozers. Early engineering, routing studies, regulatory prep, an opening salvo for consultations, especially with First Nations. Smith says they must be on board early. But the roadblocks are big. 1. Federal law. The tanker ban would need a carve-out or repeal. 2. Indigenous consent. Without it, expect legal and political dead ends. 3. Market math. Private capital has to show up, and so far it hasn't. Zoom out. This is about more than a pipe. Climate policy versus energy revenue. Federal authority versus provincial ambition. And the unresolved question of who gets to say yes or no on Canada's coasts. What happens next? Watch for Alberta to submit that application. Watch for Ottawa to signal whether the tanker ban is even on the table. And watch for First Nations to set the terms of engagement or refusal. Pipeline comeback story? Political theater? Or a test case for how Canada makes big decisions in 2025? I'll be watching the money. I'll be watching the law. I'll be watching who actually gets a say. You should too.